afternoon and welcome. The final ceremony of 2022 will start in just a few moments. I'd just like to take a moment to thank the String Quartet for all their help and support during the last week, along with all the marshals and everyone else that has helped support these ceremonies for the university. So, the procession is on its way, but before that, I have a few obligatory notices. Can I ask you all to check your mobile phones to make sure they're on silent, flight mode, vibrate, but certainly not on ring. You don't want it to be your phone that goes off in the middle of the ceremony while there are some important speeches. Thank you. Discreet photography and filmography is permitted during the ceremony, but for the comfort of everyone around you, I'd ask that you remain seated. Professional photos will be taken and will be available to purchase, and a stream of the event will be available on YouTube. The link is on our graduation page. As I said, professional photos will be taken throughout the ceremony, and if there is anybody who does not consent to their photo being taken today and being used for publicity, please let a marshal or myself know. In the extremely unlikely event that we need to exit the building in a hurry, please remain calm and seated. The marshals will assist you in exiting the building. For the staff on stage, there is an exit to the left of the altar through the vestry. For the people to my right, please exit through the tower door, and the people to my left, please exit through the main entrance through which you came. Please wait to be directed by a marshal. When the ceremony has finished, the procession will leave the church, and you will all be asked to stand. The procession will be followed by the graduates, our VIPs, and our remaining guests will then be asked to follow. Please join us in the marquee behind the Vincent Centre for the reception. If any of the children become unsettled during the ceremony, please feel free to leave the church and then return once they've settled. Finally, to the graduands, may I be the first to congratulate you on your achievement. When your name is called, please step onto the stage. You will shake the Chancellor's hand before looking to the camera to my left for your official photos. When you leave the stage, please walk down the centre, the middle of the church, to the back of the church, where a marshal will be able to escort you to your seat. Thank you. Please enjoy the ceremony and the rest of your day. Can I please ask that you are upstanding for the procession?
Please be seated.
Good afternoon, and may I welcome those of you who are visitors to the lovely market town of Buckingham to this graduation ceremony. My name is Mary Archer, and I have the honour to be the Chancellor of the University. Graduation is a rite of passage, and this is the day that you, our graduands, will always remember with justifiable pride. Today is a very special occasion not only for you, but also for your family and friends and supporters, and of course for those who have taught you, mentored you, and encouraged you. You have enjoyed the benefits of a very high standard of teaching and personal attention that is such an attractive and distinctive feature of Buckingham, and I know that you will have studied hard to achieve your goals. I hope you've enjoyed being part of the diverse and multicultural student body, which will have introduced you to people, experiences, traditions, and cultures from across the world. You are the latest in a long and lengthening line of distinguished graduates from the University of Buckingham. When you look back on your time here and remember the support and encouragement you received, we hope you will remember us fondly and act as ambassadors for your university. I congratulate each and every one of you and wish you every good fortune in your chosen careers and future life. Thank you.
Dame Mary Archer, Sir Ivan Lawrence, Registrar Chris Payne, Dean of Law Professor Adolfo Paolini, other members of the faculty, graduands, dear family and friends of the graduands, let me add my welcome to that given by Dame Mary to you this afternoon. Welcome to this ceremony which will take you from being a graduand to a graduate. And this special graduation service today is to confer degrees and in law. And law indeed has the longest history of all our programs in the university, going all the way back to our inception in 1976 when we took our first students. And the first matriculation ceremony was conducted here in the Church of St. Peter and St. Paul, and on this stage, on this very spot where I'm standing now, one Margaret Thatcher gave the matriculation address. She, of course, then was leader of the opposition, and 3 years later became the first female Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. And she had a deep relationship with the University of Buckingham. She was inspired by what we stood for. And she said in that speech, she said, "I am here because I believe in an ideal. And I believe that ideals are meant to be lived and not just read about in books as part of history." And what was the ideal that the University of Buckingham was founded to achieve? It was that issue of independence. Independence from government, but independence of mind, and the associated ideas of academic freedom and freedom of speech. And on these issues of freedom and independence, Margaret Thatcher said the following: "Independence, we must remember, is not a gift. It is not something that governments confer, but something that a free people enjoys and uses. Freedom," she said, "requires vigor and imagination in using the opportunities available. But unless we are worthy," she concluded, "and able to take advantage of a freedom not yet extinguished in our land, we shall become pale shadows, like civilizations before us, who were eventually thrust aside and dispossessed by more vigorous rivals." That was her speech to the very first students of this university in 1976. And I must say, I've seen pictures of those first students, and many of them were from Nigeria. And in fact, I was with Adolfo Paolini recently with alumni in Lagos and Abuja, Nigeria, and we were told the interesting fact that apart from one president, good luck Jonathan, every president of Nigeria since we were open has sent one or more of their children to this university. That's apparently a fun fact for today. 50 years ago, or nearly 50 years ago, we offered these 2-year degrees, and we went to the accreditation board because we were still a university college, the University College at Buckingham, so not able to award our own degrees. We went to the accreditation agency, the CNAA, and said, we want to accredit our 2-year degrees in law. And they said, no, degrees are 3 years long. And we protested, no, we are cramming everything into 2 years with an extra term each year. And they said, no, degrees are 3 years. But we were undaunted, and this is something about the pioneering, innovative spirit of the University of Buckingham, which still, I maintain, stays to this day. We didn't give up then. We didn't say, oh, well, we'll do 3-year degrees. We instead awarded licenses of the University College at Buckingham and went to the Advisory Committee on Legal Education, the statutory body for the legal education, and showed them that our 2-year degrees were, in fact, our 2-year licenses were, in fact, equivalent to a 3-year degree anywhere else. And so our degrees were accepted widely, and we encouraged more people to come. And then, of course, in 1983, when Margaret Thatcher was Prime Minister, we got our degree awarding powers with our Royal Charter. And, of course, 1983, next year, is indeed the 40th anniversary of our Royal Charter. And as you become alumni of the university, we will be getting in touch with you to say, come to some events next year, come and be part of our 40th anniversary celebrations. Margaret Thatcher, when she resigned from politics in 1992, became our Chancellor, and just as Dame Mary is today, she was very active with the students and showed her love and care for the students here and the faculty, and visited frequently, particularly on occasions like this. I always like to look back in history and locate the day we're having with something that happened in history. And there's so many things happened today, but one was Henry Ford was born, July the 30th, 1863. And Ford, of course, became well known as one of the richest men in the world, creator of the Ford Motor Company, and indeed well known for Fordism, the assembly line, production line manufacture. And we in Buckingham actually pride ourselves that our degree ceremonies, well, you must tell us this later on, but we think our degree ceremonies are not production lines as they are in some other universities, but they are celebrations of you as individuals. But Henry Ford, he created the Model T Ford, as you know, and he did say a couple of things. He said, had I asked people what they wanted, they would have said, we want faster horses. And this is an idea of innovation. Sometimes we have to go and think outside the box. But I'm interested in success and failure. And very often you're in a moment now where you're poised for success, but you will have known failures. We've all known successes and failures and how you deal with those. And he said, failure is only the opportunity more intelligently to begin again. He had failed several times before he created the Model T Ford. And he said about obstacles, obstacles are those frightful things you see when you take your eyes off your goals. I think that's a very profound statement. And as we go forward in life, have in mind our goals. Sometimes we have to deal with obstacles, but don't let the obstacles get in the way of your vision and your goals. Also in history this week, 1945 was a very special year. Obviously the Second World War ended, but it was a very particular time for Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill, having led the country through the war, he was then deposed, as it were. He was then thrown out of office by the voters in 1945. They wanted change. They wanted the Labour government of Clement Attlee and Winston Churchill had to move on to other things. But I want to finish really with a couple of quotes from Winston Churchill. Showing the modesty and humility that should come with greatness. He said this about the war: "I have never accepted what many people have kindly said, namely that I inspired the nation. No, it was the nation and those dwelling all round the globe that had the lion's heart. I had the luck to be called upon to give the lion's roar." I think that's a nice quote. And I'll finish on a quote from him about special moments like today and special moments that you will come to in your life. He said, "To each there comes in their lifetime a special moment when they are figuratively tapped on the shoulder and offered the chance to do a very special thing, unique to them and fitted to their talents. What a tragedy if that moment finds them unprepared or unqualified for that which could have been their finest hour. We like to think that we have prepared you and qualified you so that when that moment or those moments come in your lives, when figuratively you are tapped on the shoulder with an opportunity, a challenge, maybe an obstacle, but something that you need to focus on. Think of the opportunities and the challenges, and for which you are uniquely equipped in terms of your vision, values, aspirations, skills, and knowledge. We like to think at Buckingham we have equipped you, we have prepared you, we have qualified you, so that you will be able to embrace and seize what can be your finest hour. That reminds me of the University of Buckingham's motto, Alice volans proprius, translated from the Latin, flying on our own wings. We hope that Buckingham has enabled you to grow those wings from which you can fly high, and that you will go into the world with the Buckingham wings. But as well as flying high, I hope you will also see your roots here in Buckingham, that you will recognize that you're part of, as the Chancellor said, you're part of this growing family of Buckingham alumni, and that you will think of us as being some solid part of your roots, indeed your family. Please do keep in touch. Thank you.
Chancellor, fellowships of the University are awarded to members of staff in recognition of their outstanding service to the University. Mr. Graham Jones, University Orator, will now present the recipient for 2021, Ms. Louise Hammond.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, Louise. As you know, a university is not a university without its library, and a library is not a library without its librarian. And even though we have fantastic librarians here at the university, some of whom are here with us today, the people I have spoken with all say they miss Louise, who was librarian here from 1996 to 2017. Back then, when she started, the internet was in its infancy. And so students depended upon books and journals. Can you remember what books are? Yeah, books and journals. Yeah? The law library, where Louise started, had one computer, and the only person who could use it was Louise. So all the legal research that students had to do was done by Louise, and she would pass it on not only to students, but to members of staff as well, who didn't have their own computer. She hasn't told me, but I reckon that she used that computer to help her complete her own legal studies part-time while she was here working as a librarian. Later, Louise was appointed the university librarian, having worked initially for the law school. She was responsible for all the libraries for all disciplines. Her organisation skills became so well known at the university but she became one of the main organisers of this graduation ceremony. And I had to remind her as we walked up the aisle not to do what would have been real quite habit for her, to stand at the back and make sure that everything was working like normal, because this is a very unusual place for Louise to have sat during a graduation. But that wasn't the only thing that Louise managed to do while she was here at the university. She also organised lots of entertainment. And I know that you enjoy singing and dancing. So I've asked our musicians here to strike up your favourite song so you can come along and give us a... And I know you would, yeah? So I hesitate. But Louise used to organise something called Christmas Crackers, which was the end-of-year show here at the university, and she was always performing in that in herself. And I have it on very good authority from speaking to people as we assembled to come in here earlier, that there was one of those shows where Louise was wearing a lot less clothing than you'd expect from a librarian. Now, as if running the libraries and organising graduations were not enough, Louise was also the main contact here for the Friends of the University. That's an organisation of supporters of the university from our local community. On top of that, she also helped organise the film place. Now, Buckingham is not big enough to have its own cinema, and as the students will know, you have to go into Milton Keynes if you want more than one big screen, but we're very lucky because we have a big screen here on the campus, and every weekend that's turned into the Buckingham cinema called the Film Place. And Louise was also part of the volunteers who organised that. Now, outside her busy university work, Louise was a keen walker, and you'll often find her out walking with her husband Andrew, and I know that fellow librarians used to look forward to Monday mornings to hear the stories about what happened at the weekend on their walk. It seems that being chased by cows was quite a regular occurrence, and there was also the time that Louise was confronted by a farmer who challenged her for walking on his land. But Louise was having none of that, and she pointed out that she was actually on a public footpath. That's an indication of her enthusiasm for walking. And, as a librarian, you'd expect her to recommend a book about walking. And she does. She thinks that every student here should read a book called In Praise of Walking. Now, I've checked on our library database, and sadly, that book is not available. But it was published after Louise retired from the university. And I suspect that if she was still here when the book was published, it would have been added to the university library because, as you know, it's a very long walk from Verney Park to Hunter Street. All I've heard from people who've worked with Louise here at Buckingham is praise for her organisational skills, her dedication to providing the best library service for students and staff alike, as well as being great fun to work with. It is clear that Louise contributed a great deal to the University of Buckingham in her 21 years here. It is therefore very fitting that we award her today with her fellowship for services to the university.
Chancellor, I call upon Professor Adolfo Paolini, Associate Dean of Law, to present candidates for awards of the University of Buckingham in Law.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, Sir Ivan Lawrence, distinguished guests, dear graduates and colleagues. A book I read many years ago as law student made me understand the importance of learning. Niccolò Machiavelli wrote The Prince as gift to Lorenzo de' Medici, Duke of Urbino. In his dedicatory letter, he offered to the Duke the best asset one would ever have, knowledge. Quote, usually those seeking favors from a prince give him presents dear to themselves, or something that may delight him, wherefore we see a prince presented with horses, weapons, gold banners, jewels, and other treasures. Myself, desiring to offer you magnificent some tokens of my service, I only find among my most favored and esteemed things to offer my own knowledge of the actions of great men drawn from long experience of modernity and antiquity. You are here today because of knowledge, and it is now your turn to share it. No free man shall be seized or imprisoned or stripped of his rights or possessions, or outlawed or exiled or deprived of his standing in any other way, nor will we proceed with force against him or send others to do so, except by the lawful judgment of his equals or by the law of the land. To no one will we sell, to no one deny or delay right or justice. These two chapters of the Magna Carta 1215 contain the most pure foundation and objective of any legal system, justice. The pathway to get there is by respecting the rule of law. It is now your job to share this knowledge and have the rule of law implemented where unknown, reinstated where abolished, respected where ignored, taught where misunderstood, and confirmed where followed. No doubt, sharing and respecting the rule of law will not only restore faith in deprived communities, but also make yourselves, your families, and the University of Buckingham proud. On behalf of the law school, I would like to congratulate you all on this special occasion and look forward to seeing you shining in the legal forum. Well done. Chancellor, I present to you the graduates in law. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Law, Michael Pollard, having submitted a thesis entitled A Legal Framework for Regulating Autonomous Weapon System Deployments. For the degree of Master of Laws in International and Commercial Law, Yetunde Femi Alaran. Johnson Olatunji. Paula Oluwaseyi. MD Ghazi Saif Utsaman. For the degrees of Master of Laws in International and Commercial Law and Bachelor of Laws, Chiwikem Esidiekwu. Angelo Falsini, with distinction. Florence Ogumbayo. Loretta Okunsuwa, with distinction. for the degree of Bachelor of Laws in Law, Joshua Alabi. Natasha Bini with first class honors. Shane Burrows. Sky Burrows. Daniel Birch with first class honors. Baiyu Chen with first class honors. Nisa Chowdhury. Julia Crabtree. Liesel Kuskieri with first class honors. Melissa Davis. Duffy Disi with first class honors. Michelle Eketsie. Esther Etikwe Uwa. Christabel Esidekwu with first class honors. Oliver Francis Jones. Henry Hawkins with first class honors. Jessica Kaylock. Mahima Kathun with first class honors. Konisati Maseko. Isabel Males. Chisom Mbemena. Golam Moshe Jr. Anna Mueller with first class honors. Abubakar Navid. Grace Neal with first class honors. Margaret Ngara. Faith Claire Yambani. Sarah Okeke. Mayowa Olagunju with first class honors. Favor Omenatsu. Israel Osamolu with first-class honors. Adwa Obusu Buama. Jelis Osmisir with first-class honors. Melina Petri. Weniska Roli. Nishad Araroji with first-class honors. Afifa Sail Mohammed with first-class honors. Sharma Simur. Elizabeth Spence with first-class honors. Naval Suklain. Olivia Tester. Renee Bowen with first-class honors. It's 1-1. Yamila Yasmin. Rachel Yi. Mulenga Kainga. For the degree of Bachelor of Laws in Criminology, Alan Bray. For the degree of Bachelor of Law with Economics, Francesca Purcell with first-class honors. For the degree of Bachelor of Laws with Politics, Jo Edith Basden. For the degree of Bachelor of Laws part-time, Pelumi Apantaku. Miris May da Cruz Kirby. Denise Dempsey. Nigel Donoghue with first-class honors. Paula Francis. Mohammed Khan with first-class honors. Charlotte Moore. Ira Sahur. Chihindu Wanwo. For the degree of Bachelor of Medical Sciences, Jesse Horowitz. For the degree of Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Maria Pandia. For the degree of Master of Arts in Education, Catherine Price with distinction. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation.
The Vice-Chancellor will now say a few words.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last of a series of 14 of these ceremonies we've held over the last 4.5 days. And I want to take just a short break from our normal ceremony, if you will indulge me for a minute, just to say what an honour it is to have Dame Mary Archer with us throughout all this time. She is an eminent scientist in her own right. She is the chair of the Science Museum. She was honoured, obviously, with the Dame Commander of the British Empire for her services to the National Health Service in 2012. And I believe you were chair of the Addenbrooke Hospital at the time. And if you go to the link road between Cambridge and the Addenbrooke Hospital, you will drive along one Mary Archer Way. Not many of us have roads named after us. But she is so eminent, but also so committed to this university. And you should know that for all 14 ceremonies, she's been here, she's been shaking 2,000 hands, she's been coming to the events afterwards and meeting students and their families tirelessly. And then we've had 5 dinners where she's been the guest of honour at each and contributed to the warmth and conviviality of the evenings. So it's really an honour to have you with us, Dame Mary. And we just had a small token to remind you of your boutique hotel adjacent to the boutique university, and also something to care for your hands after shaking so many others. So a little gift. God bless you. Thank you.
Chancellor, we will now return to the script. And the Chancellor will now conclude the ceremony.
Oh, thank you. I'm very touched and honoured after that momentary moment of alarm when I thought I had the wrong script. And there was something I should be doing that I clearly wasn't going to do. So, Vice-Chancellor, thank you for those very kind words. It is no more than a privilege and a very pleasant duty to be with the university at this very celebratory time of year. And it has been a great source of delight to speak to so many students and hear their different stories and different aspirations. The Vice-Chancellor has reminded us of the motto of the university, which, like all university mottos, is, of course, in Latin. Alice volans propriis, flying on our own wings. May I congratulate our new graduates, no longer graduands, but graduates, and wish you every success as you go forward, flying on your own wings and helping others to fly on their own wings. In a time when freedom of speech and independence of thought is under threat from various quarters, it's good to see the reputation for freedom of speech and independence of thought so vigorously upheld in this university. It was commented on earlier this week in the Telegraph, the Daily Telegraph, which wrote, this, the university, the council, the faculty, is what outstanding moral leadership looks like. You, our new graduates, are called upon to be moral leaders. The Vice-Chancellor quoted, as he not infrequently does, Winston Churchill, and his rather disarming remark at the end of the war that it was not he who had the heart of the lion, but it had fallen to him to give the roar of the lion. The Vice-Chancellor always also likes to look back on this day in history. On this day, in 1966, England won the World Cup against Germany. So we have a sort of return match on Sunday. And so perhaps we might end with a little roar for the Lionesses. This ceremony is now concluded. Thank you.
Please be upstanding.